Starting to record now. Marv, you want to open with anything before we hit the rule book?
Nah, go ahead. We'll kind of filter in, different things as we get there.
Okay, so I'll have these posted up on Discord. It actually printed out and then a PDF like I did last year, and then also we'll put it under the Facebook page under highlights or featured, whatever they're calling it this week. I'm not going to read all the things in red, but you will find that the rules have been updated. Anything in red has been changed. I'm going to kind of go through. We did make one change in the penalty process. We still have the 1 through 5, but we've added a little more severity to the level 5, which is the highest level posted. It is a loss of 15 driver points for that event, and that driver will not be allowed to qualify for the next ERA official event, points event that they attend, and will have to serve a green flag drive-through penalty at the start of the next race. Must be under green flag conditions. This isn't going to be, you'll get the EOL, but you won't get the actual in-race GFDT penalty, partly because it's just hard for us to figure out how to do it and drive on a short track. And so that means that the driver's going to have to do it on the honor system. We will check it after the race, and it must be under green. If you're having issues with it, you better let us know, because we are going to review it. Hopefully, we don't have to have this penalty, but if we do, we will review it, and that driver will be immediately removed from the league, because if they can't honor that penalty, or at least make sure if they have an issue. That's why I'm saying if you have issues, we really don't want them to be a part of the ERA community. There's really no other note here new in the penalties. Just some cleaning up in the car number area. Um, the car number on the vehicle, everyone's doing a pretty good job of having the roof, or both doors in the roof. I've added that you also have to have one on the right side, right rear panel. I'm having a hard time seeing sometimes which car I'm supposed to be lining up behind when they're side by side. So it just makes life a little easier for some of us trying to get realigned. Sponsors on the vehicle is a new rule this year. We haven't really had a problem, but we've had problems in the past, and Marvin and I got talking about it, that all sponsors displayed on the vehicle must meet general community standards. In other words, no offensive products or messages allowed. So like Calvin peeing on Hobbs or Chevrolet or Ford or stuff like that, not allowed. And since it's not legal in all states, marijuana and CBD products or themed content is not allowed either. Obviously, adult content is not allowed. Political content can only promote a position or candidate. Now, mind you, it can't be derogatory. Mind you, Trading Paints actually says you're not allowed to have any, so you guys decide how you want to do that. The definition of content equals but not limited to all the sponsors, logos, pictures, or messages, or paint background themes and whatnot on the vehicle. Shouldn't be really that hard for anybody. Just we wanted to make sure it was clarified since we're starting to get new members. We've updated a little bit on the ERA rookie, so really everybody that's in the room here tonight, it really doesn't apply to anybody, but for those that are maybe watching the replay, I'm going to kind of go over. Originally, you would have a 3-digit number based on the number that you would eventually get to. We are just going to start assigning 3-digit numbers randomly. Marv will take care of that. And there's a new text room under league info. There's rookie numbers. There's also a driver number list, and then also a legacy number list. So if you are a rookie, you're going to be given your 3-digit number, and then once you've completed your 3-race evaluation period, it's your responsibility to go into the room that's labeled 2-digit request and click in there and leave a message, and then we will review to see if there's been any issues. And then if you do pass, then we will reach out to you to let you know how the next process is to get your 1 or 2-digit number so you could be under the number driver list. And if you are a rookie and you need to go and look, that's where all the current numbers are spoken for. So we did clarified that. Also clarification on that probationary period for legacy drivers who disappear for a while and then come back. Your number gets a 2 added to it. If you want to come back and after you've done 3 races, you can go to that same 2-digit request. Mind you, you might not be able to get your original number because somebody else might have already claimed it. We did add this because we wanted to start cleaning up this stuff, minor things. If an ERA veteran has not competed in a race during a given season, they will become a 200 legacy number. If for 2 consecutive seasons, we're just going to remove them from the league. It's just a cleaning house deal. Code of conduct. We changed a little bit, mainly clarifying front bumper, rear bumper. We actually put it in the rules that if a driver successfully moves their front bumper past the rear bumper of the vehicle in front of them, that vehicle is considered to have that lane position. Whether it's on the high side or the low side, the car in front must yield to that oncoming car. If an incident occurs on after that oncoming vehicle has established that dominant position, more than likely it's going to favor in the oncoming vehicle. That said, though, don't dive bomb it in there 4 car lengths deeper than you normally would past the normal braking point. If that's the case, it's probably going to lean the other way. Regardless of the situation, it will be a level 6 penalty, which is basically us, the ERA race committee, deciding it. It'll probably be a minimum of a level 3, so there'll be no qualifying involved and a loss of points for the next event they compete in. Let's see, Rule 3.2. So I added a little bit of verbiage. We had talked about no threatening abusive language towards anyone that will not be tolerated. I added this includes radio transmissions during the race and on social media and Discord. We haven't had a problem with it yet, except for we had one driver that we've had, and we'll talk about that in a minute at the end of that. But first offense is a level 1, so we'll do a warning, and then after that it'll be a case-by-case scenario. Mistakes happen. We talked about that rule. The only thing I updated in that 3.3 is this room that we are in right now is going to be pretty heavily used for race day. This is where all the post-race discussions will take place. Speaking of that, 4.0 Discord has a lot of updates to it. All drivers during the race must be in this room that we are in now in race day Discord. On the ERA channel. It's supposed to be as like it is in iRacing, keep the chatter down to a minimum, especially during race conditions. You must have a separate push to talk button than you do on iRacing. We're going to grace everybody a season to get it figured out. If you need to talk to us on iRacing with a push button, we're going to allow that for this coming season, but come spring season, everybody has to have a push to talk button. If you're out of buttons on your wheel, we suggest finding something that's on a keyboard that you can reach and at least discuss in Discord, because we're not going to be able to guarantee that we're going to hear everything. There's just been so much chatter sometimes, and somebody talking about, hey, that's a great paint scheme, or hey, I've got this going on, or hey, how's my nose? And while all that's going on, there's been a few times where there's been a few drivers that have not been able to communicate scenarios and situations, and it has created a bit of ruffled feathers. So this is why we have made this move. So as far as the 4.22, the new rule there will be no more team channels on Discord. You'll need to create those in iRacing. If you need help with that, Marv or I will be glad to help you with that. It's very easy. Short tours, you hit F10 on your keyboard. At the very top, there's this area you can type in a name. Everybody needs to type in the exact same name. You hit enter, and then you'll need to have a way to cycle through your channel somewhere. Either a keyboard command or something else to get to that channel. You shouldn't need to jump off of that, because all communication, including driver communications, will be here in the race day room. Update as far as the Discord server name, you might need to make sure that your Discord name has the following combination of first name, last name, and car number. Either for the example I give is Bob Vila number 99 or number 99 Bob Vila. That is mainly to make life easier for Roger. Update to the post-race issues on Discord. It'll be here in the race day channel. Please wait until the completion of the race. We're not going to discuss it during the race because we are competitors as well. If a driver continuously disrupts the race day Discord channel and or a complete meltdown during the race, again, we're competing. That driver will be awarded a level 6 penalty with a minimum of level 3 race suspension, or a minimum of a 3 race suspension. We understand that people get hot and heavy, and adrenaline is a big part of what we do, but there's a time and place for everything, and during the race is not that place. Post-race interviews will still take place in Discord. So I've gone through at least half the rule book here. Are there any questions to this point to the guys that showed up here? And thank you, by the way, for all those that were able to make it. Any questions?
Yeah. So you guys are going to enforce the no talking in this race day channel? Because I know even with my teammates, I don't talk when I'm racing. I'm trying to listen to the car. I'm trying to listen to the spotter. And I've been in some of these chats during these races where guys are talking about whatever, and it's super distracting. So I like being in a quiet room for that reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So what we're doing is any of the guys that want to talk, they create a team channel in iRacing so they can talk amongst themselves where this room stays quiet. This is mainly just for admin because we've had instances where guys are trying to let us know someone's not caught the field. We need to wave off the restart or whatever. And we can't hear them because everybody's talking over each other in iRacing because that's the only place everyone was at. So this way, any race admin stuff will be here, and any private communications will be over on iRacing,
So we'll still.
and
Okay.
that should keep everything clean. Uh, so let's say there's a caution and somebody's trying to claim it. Well, you'll claim it in here. So there shouldn't be any talk at that point. Once a caution comes out, once the caution is claimed, at that point, we can have, hey, what's my fender look like, whatever. Once we get to two to green, though, it needs to go back silent in this channel just so we can take care of the admin stuff, wave bys, waving off the green, whatever we need to do for that, um, just to help streamline the admin process a little bit better.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be any different than what we have in the room. I absolutely, Sean, I am with you. I run on a league on Thursday nights, and I do my ride along videos. And every time they're talking about the weather or the new shoes they bought, I will blast it on my videos. And then normally the next week there's a reminder that people are racing in here. So that's where we're gonna. If it becomes a problem, we will definitely start enforcing it with penalties other than reminders, but it should. I'm going to be right along with you, Sean, on that.
Will we be
Ten,
calling out
10 4.
Go ahead, Dorf.
Sorry, Sean. Um, will we be calling out pitting in, pitting out on that channel or no?
Yeah, everything, all race day communications. So basically, all we've done is taken the iRacing driver and all teams, which is another issue that we have because not everybody has all teams on because it's defaulted off. That communication that takes place on those two channels right now is supposed to be at a minimum. We're just moving it over here to this race day Discord channel. Same anything like, hey, I'll go high, Marv, pass me low, stuff like that'll all be here, and then all your team communication stuff that you want will be on iRacing.
Yeah, if you see a wreck, you can call it out. Everyone's going to hear it in here because we're all going to be on that channel. So uh, hopefully it'll help clean the races up a little bit more too because people will get that information sooner rather than after they've already piled into it.
Any other questions?
I do have one.
Yeah, Matt, go
Maybe
ahead.
I'm missing it. This is just curiosity. The what's the word I'm looking for? The pass through and DQ incident limit, is that in here
I have
for
not
this
got
coming
to
season?
I have not got to that yet. It is coming up.
Okay.
So now if nobody else has anything as far as the Discord numbers, conduct, levels of penalty, we'll start moving to on track stuff now. There's really no.
Hold on, just 1 second.
Yep, go ahead.
I just want to clarify the reasoning for the rule on the bumper. Traditionally, and Austin, can knows this is traditionally short track racing. The rule has been you get your right front to their left rear. That car has got position. Give them the lane, race it out, and all that. Well, that seems to be very difficult to do here on iRacing. Uh, don't know if it's the net code or what the issue is, but it just tends to be a problem getting to that point, and you end up just having a lot of single file racing. So we modified it to the point that if you break the plane of the rear bumper, and that's on the lead driver, if the car is far enough along that if you move down, it's going to spin you out, then you need to give them that lane. So if they break the plane of your bumper, give them that
Oops,
lane to
sorry guys on the
race.
video.
And part of the reasoning for that is just to make the racing better. So there's more passing, there's more just competition in general in the league.
Pretty much
Because
don't chop the guy that's underneath you.
Correct.
Yeah, but the way we're going to view this from the tower on review is you've got to be there before the normal turn-in point to the corner. So if you drive it in an extra car or two deep to get there at the normal lift point and you spin the guy out, that's going to be on you. So just be mindful of that, and then we'll go back to some other stuff regarding the cars and the setups and stuff like that once Jeff gets through this next session. That will feed a little more into that particular scenario right there.
All right, I'll go ahead and move on. So on track qualifying, there really is no changes to the qualifying process. We're still doing 5-minute session, but the first 3 minutes is where you need to get your lap in. The last 2 will be the Lucky 7 redraw, sponsored this year by, thank you, Austin. We're going to have you come back as our sponsor there. For that, also in qualifying as well. Nothing changes there. As always, the Hard Charger and Hard Luck Awards are based on the original qualifying spot, not the random redraw. The only change that we've made is to Rule 5.5, and we added a 5.6. 5.5 was the 3 consecutive races that driver not allowed to qualify. We've changed to 2 consecutive races. And then the warm-up session that we have, we're going to make this at 5.6. I'm just going to read it. Warm-up session. Starting with the ERA 2025 winter season, we will have a pit party during warm-up session. This will not be an individual practice. We will simulate our race start. The goal here is to give everybody a chance to get used to racing in a pack with other cars. Everyone must participate. If you do not, you're not going to be able to race for that night. Theory on that is there seems to be a lot of early cautions because we're not used to, especially if somebody's new to the car, they're not sure where the points are, or sometimes the arrow will affect how the car handles. This is to give you guys, everybody, an idea of what it's like in traffic, and hopefully we'll try to get some of those gremlins out of us. Starts and restarts is remaining the same. That's section 6. As far as everything is going to be on iRacing. Once the display, the leader has lane choice. Must declare it before iRacing displays the 1 to go at the start-finish line. Exceptions will be if ERA officials advanced it to the 1 to go status. Pole sitter also has that lane choice. We updated the verbiage in 6.2 on the starts and restarts, controlled by Barney the Flagman. Do not leave early. If you do, this would be a level 6 penalty. If you leave early and give back to position within 2 laps, you'll not be penalized. It's a level 6 penalty because we needed to judge the severity of the situation, how early it was, how late it was because if it's a green-white checkered and there's a jump, it's harder to give that spot back up because that guy doesn't want to give a bunch of spots, so he might not. So we're just going to do it as a case-by-case basis. No changes in the rest of the starts and restarts. Are there any questions on qualifying and starts and restarts? On track etiquette is next, which I believe, Matt, is where your question came from earlier. All right, sounds good. We're moving to 7.0, on track etiquette. Marv, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I just had a clarification on the reason for 5.5. When we got to looking back through the season, since we run 10 races, having that be reset every 3 just didn't really fit the sequence of events. If it was a 12 race season, it would make sense. So this way, hopefully it'll make things a little more competitive, and it'll be a little easier to keep up with being 2 consecutive races. And what did you have, Matt? What was your question?
He's talking about the points, incident points, which we're getting to this section.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The pit party you said was going to be during the end of normal practice?
Yeah, it'll be in the warm-up session after qualifying and after the drivers' meeting.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
Is that just
line up out? Everybody just line up where you can.
No, I mean, is that a 10-minute warm-up? I don't know if a 5-minute warm-up gives you enough time to do driver's meeting and pit party.
No, the warm up is 5 minutes post drivers meeting. So
I get,
basically,
yeah, Matt,
yep,
what you're saying is we've added the driver's meeting time into the qualifying session now. So it
Got
will be a 5-minute session all by itself.
Okay.
All right. 7.1, which is except in rare incidents, is iRacing issued black flags will not be cleared. In red, it's the responsibility of each driver to request a black flag cleared. This will be determined during the race on a case-by-case situation. If it is reviewed post-race, if the claim is not a legitimate request, there will be a level 6 penalty issued. This is another reason why we've kind of moved into the race day channel on Discord, because sometimes it's hard to hear clearing those. Let's see, with 7.3, to Sean's question earlier, radio chatter. Once the field gets the 2 to go, that's when everyone needs to cease their communications of randomness. It is on the 2 to go. If it becomes a problem after that, then we'll deal and put a rule on it. Right now we don't. We updated 7.5 and 7.51. This is dealing with the cause and whatnot. If you are the cause of caution, you must claim it. You'll be given an EOL for the upcoming restart. If you are 7.752, if you're the cause of a second caution, you must claim it. You'll be given an EOL penalty for the upcoming restart and a green flag drive-through penalty. Third one, it will be the green flag, 7.53, the green flag drive-through penalty is going to be a verbal issue, just like we had mentioned with the rules in Rule 5. If it is the driver's responsibility to do it under green. Again, we're racing, so it's really hard. There is a code for it, but it's really hard for us to get that in, and especially if we are racing. And so it is that responsibility. It will be reviewed afterwards. If you cause a third caution, you must claim it, and you'll be asked to retire for the night. Going into any unclaimed post-race, it'll be a level 6 penalty. If the drivers are unsure who to blame, no one claims the caution. It will be reviewed after this race, level 6. I added in also that if it is considered a racing deal, we will probably still review it, but no penalties will be issued in there. But if there's somebody that's blatantly at fault, there may be a penalty issued. One of my biggest concerns is that sometimes there's an accident and both just say, yeah, it's a racing deal, so they don't get penalized. Excuse me. 7.7, a wave by will be issued by ERA control. The highest 2 cars not on the lead lap will get the wave around. If you are the cause of the caution, you are not eligible for one of the wave by awards. That doesn't mean if you're caught up in it, you won't get it. If you are the cause, you won't get it, but everybody else would still get it. That's why we do it manually, because iRacing screws the 5-6 cars involved with it, and that's not fair. Leader, nothing changed with the leader. Everything else stayed the same. I did remove Rule 7.11, or we did, and that is there is no longer a 15 race incident points during the race. We decided to go to the back to our 3 and out deal. On the third one you parked it, and added severity to the second one with the green flag drive-through, because a lot of guys were getting penalized, caught up in other stuff that really had nothing to do with them. So we got rid of the incident points, so there are no longer the 15 or 17 during the rest of that during the race. And then let me note that the new during race penalty schedule established Rule 7.51 through 7.54 should address, okay, that's what I just talked about, should address the overly aggressive driving. And then finally, items not covered. If it's not in the rule book, we will review it. It'll be a level 6 penalty, more than likely to be a verbal warning that'll be issued to the entire ERA membership, and then expect a rule added to it. That's the rules there. Are there any questions as far as on track things that you guys heard in tonight's meeting?
I have one.
Yeah, Matt.
7.8, the leader one.
Yes.
You don't have a penalty listed there. Could you?
When the leader starts lapping the field, cars can fight to stay on the lead lap. Once a driver has been lapped by the leader, drivers must lay over for all lead lap cars unless you're battling another car for position. I think how we've handled that in the past, if it's been brought up to us, and that's the key there, because we try to watch as much
Yep.
as we can, but we try to reach out individually to the drivers if he's a lap down and the third and fourth place car are trying to catch the first two guys. If it's been an issue, we try to reach out privately to them. And again, if that becomes an issue, Rule 8.1 comes into effect if we have to issue a penalty.
Copy.
Can you read over the code 5 or code 6 with the penalty, just so I can
The on-track penalty, the claiming caution penalties?
No, it was like you said.
Oh, the penalty itself?
Yes, the penalty itself.
Okay, yeah. Level 5, a loss of 15 driver points for that event. The driver will not be able to qualify for the next ERA official points event. That's important in case we do like a fun event, a points event that she attends. And will have to serve a green flag drive-through penalty, GFDT, at the start of the next race. Must be under green flag conditions and or possible removal from ERA. Then there's a note for level 5 that the GFDT penalty will not be officially issued in the race room. It'll be a verbal issue penalty, and it is the responsibility of that driver to serve this penalty under green. This will be reviewed after the race. If a driver that has been issued this GFDT penalty and she does not serve it, that driver will be immediately removed from the league. If that driver cannot honor this penalty, we don't want that driver competing with ERA. That's why I'm stating if you're having troubles with this for whatever reason, like nobody's letting you down, or we have a wave of cautions coming out, and you still need to serve it, you need to let us know, so we will make a note of it and not nick or boot somebody unfairly.
Got you. And you said that was the penalty for which part of that again? Make sure.
That is that's if we issue.
There's not serving the drive.
Yeah. There's 2 times that this green flag drive-through penalty rule shows up. Level 5 if it's been awarded, or if it is your second cause of caution, it'll be issued during the race as well, and it needs to take place. If you cause the second caution, you'll get that EOL, and you must do that drive-through. Same rules apply there. It's the exact same verbiage here that I just cut and paste. It's the exact same written.
Okay.
Yep.
And so now we're not doing the incident points, so
Correct.
you can have as many incident points. It's just more or less on causing cautions is where people are going to get the penalties.
Yeah, we felt that, like I mentioned earlier, but I'll just reiterate it in case somebody's skipping around on the replay, that the aggressive driving really wasn't curbed by the 15-point rule, and the wrong guys were getting penalized with it. So we decided to go back to that system where we didn't have it at all, and then do this drive-through penalty, because that's a pretty severe penalty, because that could be a 2-3 lap penalty on a short track, on a lot of these tracks we race. And so we felt that would really slow people down and be cautious about whether or not they're going to stick their nose into it. Even if they think that they can get away with it that night, they should have it in the back of their head. We will see it, and it will be issued for the next time they show up. And if they don't like it, they'll stop showing up.
Roger that. Sounds good. I like it.
All right. If there are no other questions, thank you. Marv has thanks, Pete. Marv's got a few things that I think he wants to talk about for this coming season and then also for the spring season.
Yeah, as far as this season, we're going to be building the sets this season. I feel like the last couple seasons, particularly with this car, the sets have been neutral to tight, and it's not really promoted good racing. Virtually everybody in the field is running the same lap times from the leader to last place, and nobody can make up any on-track position because we're all pretty much even. The car is not slipping, sliding. There's only so much you can do. So we're going to loosen the sets up this season. They're not going to be crazy loose like the super late model was, but the track conditions are going to change. I mean, the sets are going to be built. They're going to be on the iRacing server, so you can go a week ahead, days ahead, whatever you want to do, and click in and practice that set with the weather at the track. So I would advise you to go do that and be comfortable with it. What I am going to tell you is there may be times with track conditions where the temperature gets hotter than expected, that the set may be looser than what we build, and your foot controls whether that car spins out or not. So you got to drive within the limits of what the car is going to let you. Uh, but I do think it will produce better racing because it's going to open up the opportunity for everybody to make little mistakes here and there, overshoot the corner, get loose, roll back in the throttle a little too hard or whatever. Uh, kind of the same way the street stocks were the last time we ran them with Mars, and I thought that was excellent racing because the driver had to drive the car, and it wasn't so much just follow the leader and all that stuff and wait, hoping somebody made a mistake because the cars were just too tight. So, um, hopefully that, we'll take your guys' input on that as well. We're going to do our first set build this Friday night at 8 o'clock. We'll have 2 1-hour sessions, and those will cover the first 2 weeks of the season. As soon as we get those out, those will get posted up on iRacing to the next event, so people can go practice those. If you want to join in on that practice session, we're going to do the one Friday and we're going to do one Saturday, which will get the first 4 races out of the way. And then we won't do any till probably the following weekend. But if you guys want to come in, put in your 2 cents. The main thing we found when we're building these sets that really affects things is not so much the guys that have higher end equipment like the Fanatec stuff and all that. You know, it's not really going to
Fanatic.
affect them much. But if you've got guys that are on G29 or T150 stuff like that, and non-load cell pedals and stuff, sometimes the sets might be a little too free for them. So those are the guys that we'd really like to show up, give us their input. Hey, how's this feel? Is it comfortable for you? That sort of thing. Um,
Well,
but
just call
other
me
than
out.
that, I think everybody can just kind of adapt. I mean, that's the whole point of the fixed set racing, is to adapt. But we're going to build these things to where they're competitive. They're not necessarily going to be the fastest sets in the world, but we're trying to build sets that will create good competition throughout the field. Yeah, Dylan has been dominating for a couple seasons now, but I feel like we've added some new guys with, Eldred and LeDuc and a couple others that are going to give him a run for the money, um, and stuff. And we want everyone to have 5, 6, 7 guys they're battling with every week for position, so that you are racing. Each week you've got a battle on your hands each week. And the last couple seasons, it's just been really, really hard to pass. And I really feel like that takes the fun out of it. So hopefully you'll appreciate that when we get rolling. If there's issues the first couple races, hit me up. Let me know what the issues are. What problems you're having with the sets, and we'll make adjustments. Try to fine tune them some. Um, if you feel like the set's okay, but you're just struggling with whatever, if you want to hit me up, we'll do some practice sessions, and I'll work with you and stuff. We used to do that a lot, and I really enjoyed doing that, helping our drivers out and stuff. So if it's a matter of the loose car, you feel like you need some help, get it under control, let me know. We'll get together and we'll work on some different stuff to try to help you get better. But
And I can
uh,
attest to that because I took advantage of that when I first started racing with Marv's leagues. I was out to lunch and was quickly lap traffic, but I'm no superstar by any means, but I learned how to be a clean, hard racer and respectful because those guys in that group took the time to teach me those things.
I mean, I got nothing on Dylan. I don't think many of us do. but just the basics of footwork and what you can do with your feet and your hands to balance the car. Part of that is just understanding the chassis and what it's doing and how you can manage that with a fixed set to make it a little bit better. And I know some people struggle with the fixed set stuff, and that's where I would like to help people get on the same page with all that. Um, so if you're having issues, just get with us and all. But you know these rule updates, I know they're tedious and all that stuff, but we just try to continue to improve the league, find little ways to make it better, more where it's easier to understand what is expected of you without having to you know write a book every week. Um, but this is for you guys. We want you to come in every week. We want you to enjoy what you're doing. So you need to let us know what you want, what you're looking for out of the league. And, that's what we're trying to do is make sure we've got, you know, 18, 20, 25 guys a week coming in that's, having, the camaraderie and the racing and just enjoying what they're doing so we can have, just a good league in general. So, we really appreciate you guys when you do show up and appreciate it. The guys that have been donating and helping us out on the financial side. It is a little bit more than what some people think. For the broadcasting and everything that goes on behind the scenes. So we certainly appreciate people stepping up and helping with that. But anybody have any other questions here?
Did you want to ask the throng about spring?
Yeah, we can. We were discussing possibly, either changing cars or adjusting how we. Hang on just a second.
Sounded like Marv's bookie was calling. Where's my money?
Trying to get a loan. I'm stuck in Houston.
I can kind of maybe go through that if you want. One of the topics that we had talked about for the spring season is, like Marv had said, maybe a different car, or maybe going back to a longer race format. Start the room instead of at the top of the hour, start it 30 minutes earlier. So with the longer races, we're still getting done about the same time. We don't want everybody on the East Coast racing until 11 o'clock at night, obviously. So one of the options that we've had is to go to back to we used to do 125 to 150 laps, and then our season championship was 200. I think 200 might be a bit much, but we've been talking about maybe 100 on a big track, but maybe races that are in that 125, 150 range for special races. Just kind of, I was hoping we had more people in here tonight, but I'm thankful for the ones that we do. Just was curious if there was any feedback if we start those discussions where the room kind of felt to start their mind is, where they think it is right now.
Yeah, I had said to Marv, I'm fine with running longer races as long as we're going to start earlier. I am on the East Coast and I'm up at 5 a.m. every day, so I'd
Yep.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Let me ask you: would being finished by 10 p.m. be an acceptable goal to shoot for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it, but but I need as much beauty sleep as I can get, Marv.
Oh, I've seen your picture. I agree 100%. Uh, no, I mean, what we're
Damn.
looking at is if we start at 7:45, because we've got some guys on the West Coast. If we start at 7:45 and we continue the normal way we have been, where we've got the 25-minute practice, quick qualify, and all that, we should be green no later than 8:20. Um, and if we're racing clean, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, we should be done way early. Most of these tracks we can do 3 laps a minute, so 125 laps isn't going to take that long, and it's geared more toward making the late model more like the Cars Tour because they generally run 125 lap races, occasionally a little
You,
bit more.
would we
And
would caution laps count?
We've gone back
Uh,
and forth on that. That hasn't been decided just yet. What's your feedback? Our initial thought was is it would help keep the races from getting out of control on a freak day.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean
we're
that's kind of how I feel. It sucks when you're the one that's losing a lap in the pits, but at the same time, it's like if we get into one of those nights where it's just everybody's running over each other, we're never going to finish, you know?
and we would also have a time limit on that too. So once we get to a certain point, it's the length of it. It is because we've had this in the past where we've done those longer races that all of a sudden it'll say, "Hey, you've got 2 to go," and you're like 40 from the end because it's just been a caution fest. So
yeah, the way I set the rooms up, like if the consensus is, yeah, we like the idea, but we just really don't want to be in here past 10 o'clock, then we'll set that up to be the hard out. So if the clock hits 10 at that point, if don't matter if we still got 50 laps left, at that point, iRacing will throw the white flag, and next lap is the finish. So we can set 10 p.m. as that hard shut off, and just try to complete as many laps as we can, each night. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I would say that I don't want to be going any later than 10 p.m.
and that's pretty much what we've been trying to do now with all of our stuff is be done by 10. And I think for the most part we've been getting finished, 9:30,
yep,
9:45 each night.
yep.
I I kind of have a similar opinion. I can't speak for everybody. Um, I prefer the longer races. Um, and if we had to compromise, throughout the league to make that happen, I'm comfortable with a little bit shorter of a practice session if we had to just shorten some time.
I agree 100% with that.
The issue I feel like with that would be a prime
Some people not
example
getting in.
would be one in particular is Mark Herzog. He reached out about coming back. He's a West Coast guy. He's out in LA, I believe. And, he says even 8 o'clock is tough for him to get in. Initially, Jeff was thinking 7:30. And I thought, well, if we do 7:45, then Mark's going to miss probably half a practice, but he can still get in the last half of practice and get into qualifying and the 5 minute warm up session. So currently 7:45, we would be 8:10 is when we would go to qualifying. That would be 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and then the redraw. So that should be 8:15, and at that point you got 5 minute drivers meeting, be 8:20, and a 5 minute warm up. We should be green 8:25 to 8:30 every night. And if we can't finish 125 laps or even 150 in an hour and a half, then that means we got people we need to boot.
And if everybody does their job on track, the drivers' meeting gets shorter.
But I think in general, longer races make for more strategy. That's one of the other things with these sets. We're going to try to build them so that we do have some tire wear, where you have to manage your car. You can't go balls out. You're at the drop of the green. Uh, you can adjust the car by taking more fuel, taking less fuel, taking, 2 tires, taking 4, that sort of stuff, and just put more of the action in the driver's hands for those races. So,
Those longer races, if there's going to be tire stops and whatnot, if we do count caution laps, that could get problematic too with the short tracks.
Yep.
I think as far as if you take 4 tires on a quarter-mile racetrack, you're going to lose a lap more than likely.
Part of the strategy too with that, but yes, that's his concern. Yes.
Yeah, just something to think about. That's all.
Because I know in the past, when I've needed 4 tires, I've had to go twice just to stay. I went once just to get.
Yeah.
And since and I get right sides and some fuel, and then I get left sides and the rest of my fuel.
Yep. No, I completely get it. I was just saying, I've seen other places where it's like, oh, if I take 4 tires, I'm gonna go down a lap, and what the hell's the point at that point? So
Well, I mean,
something to think about.
Yep, yep.
so I think a way we could probably remedy that when we're at the shorter tracks, uh, that that we know cause a problem, like Lanier, uh, Langley, places like that. Hickory is another one that has really quick laps. Easy to go a lap down. That we just implement a halfway break where
Yeah, that's
every,
kind of what I was
every
thinking. Like, I was
yeah,
just watching the Snowball Derby this past weekend, and they have stages where they stop, everybody gets tires or whatever, and then they go. Might
yeah,
just be something to think about. I'm not
yeah,
saying one
Especially,
way or the other.
especially Marv, like you pointed out, Lanier, it is the worst pit area to do any kind of pit stop under race conditions.
yeah. So for something like that, we just say, all right, halfway break, everybody pits this lap, unless you just don't want to. I mean, if you just flat don't want to, then you got to go out and slow your pace down and not lap the field. Uh, but make your choice at that pit stop. Maybe we make a mandatory stop with 50 to go, and everybody has to pit. Then you decide what you're gonna do. If you're gonna take more fuel, less fuel, rights, whatever, and then we come back out and restart the race. There's something we can do there that would balance it out and make it fair for everybody, so nobody's going a lap down.
In the past,
Even if they take four.
we've also set the car up where you couldn't go the distance on fuel that you start the race with, so they have to pit somewhere along the way. Whether or not they just go in and get the fuel and come back out, or take two or take four, that's all part of that strategy that we were trying to add into it. Josh, Pete, Austin, any feedback on it?
As long as we
I'm
have extra tires, I love the idea of longer races. I need to learn and work on saving tires, but
you guys hear
I'm
me?
all about it.
Yeah. Hang on a sec, Pete. Go ahead and finish, Josh.
No, no, I was just saying I would be all for longer races. The biggest thing for me would be making sure at least we have a set of extra tires, and I got to learn how to save tires.
Yep. Very good. Pete?
I was just saying Dylan Connor's gonna win.
Okay. Austin?
I'm all for the longer races.
Well, it's not a given yet, but that is kind of what we've been leaning towards for 2025 spring season.
Are we
Uh,
talking about like what, like between 125 and 150 laps?
yeah, definitely make sure that you have to pit for fuel if we have to do that. Maybe on a big track like an Iowa or a Richmond or a Rockingham, if we pull those, it might be 100 or 110 or some weird number. That what we've tried to do is, all right, under complete green flag conditions, how many laps can we get done in a minute or in 2 minutes, and then base the distance based off of that, and then allow for caution periods, the rolling off of pit road to get started, accounting for all of that stuff in there, and that's how we in the past had tried to math the distance of the races.
Yeah, and the number of tires available will depend on the setup. We'll evaluate the setup when we build it as to what tire wear looks like and how many laps we think we can get out of a set. Typically, for the last 2 seasons or 3 seasons, we've always had one extra set of tires in the pits, and then you do what you want to do on the fuel. Um, so if we go this route next season, 125 to 150. If we do a super short track for a finale like a Hickory or something, it may be a 200. If it's a bigger track like a Five Flags, it's probably going to be a 150 or 175 finale, something like that. And if it's like a Nashville Fairgrounds or something, you're probably looking at 150. So, but we'll make sure that there's tires available. But we don't want to have endless tires where you can just go out and qualify every lap. We want to make it so guys have got to back up, save the car a little bit, and not necessarily be able to go out and hammer down the entire race, because that should make the strategy a little more interesting, more comers and goers through the field and all that. And, hopefully it'll just improve the competition from the front to the back through the whole field.
Well, those are the things we wanted to cover tonight. I appreciate you guys. I hope this is helpful or something you guys want us to try to do from season to season if we have if we are afforded the opportunity or a day to do it. Let us know if you like the idea.
I suggest everybody help with the set build.
Uh,
It's actually a lot of fun.
Well, since he called out the G29, I guess I have to be there.
Just from our experience in the past, the higher end wheels can adapt to pretty much anything. You can feel what's going on. With the lower wheels, it is possible for us to get the set too loose for you guys. Mainly because, and it's not so much the wheels, it is the pedals. The loose cars on here, you balance way more with your feet than you do the wheel, and that's extremely hard to do with linear pedals versus the load cell stuff. So we just want to make sure that the sets are comfortable for you as well, but we can get the cars free enough to where we actually got to drive them. And also it's not going to be a consistent track state. When we set the rooms up, we're going to have a parameter for the temperatures and stuff, and we're going to build the sets to be for that temperature range. But with the iRacing weather system, you can have a little colder, a little hotter, different wind, where the track conditions are going to change throughout the race. That's real world, and that's what we're trying to do is simulate a Saturday night short track event where you show up and things change throughout the day, throughout the night, and you have to adapt to them, and you can't just go out and Xbox it to the floor and expect everything to work out right. I don't think those type of races are that fun, and that's kind of the way things have been the last little bit. And hopefully this will make it a little bit more enjoyable for everybody.
It was
Boy,
PlayStation.
life must be rough up there on the pedestal for them, huh, Dorf? Their fancy wheels and whatnot.
I know, it's rough.
Terrible.
Part of life.
Years and years and years of saving and hard work went into getting these damn things, and even they're not that good anymore. Now it's time for friggin' direct drive, and we're just down here on these damn servo wheels.
First he makes fun of my Chevy, now he's making fun of my steering wheel. Guy never
Hell,
stops.
Dylan's the only one in here with a high end wheel. He's the only direct drive guy in here, I think.
Who?
Oh,
Me?
I just went from a G27 to a Moza, so
What Moza did
Oh,
you
they
get?
see.
I went with the 5.
The
I
5.
yeah,
I just went from the T300 to the R9.
that was not in the budget.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
caught it on sale. It wasn't
budgets
that
are
bad.
budgets are pretty tight right now. I've been looking at a Fanatic
There you go.
CSLDD. It's Fanatec, asshole.
Oh, my
I bet we're looking at one of those because I think that
Say
would make a
it
huge
again.
difference.
All right.
Say it.
The meeting has got out of control, so I'm going to stop the recording for those that are listening post race. If you want more of the details, you can reach out to Marv or I. Thank you, and good night.